instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. All right, well, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Potter. He's Scott McLeod. We're back in the chairs, back with the microphones in front, and excited to get back at it in 2025.
Crazy.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Cobra Golf and Cobra Golf's new King Tech X, and King Tech X1 length irons. Designed with a wide variety of handicaps, the King Tech and King Tech X irons deliver the ultimate combination of performance, precision, power, and forgiveness in every swing. Find a local fitter today. For a better ball striking experience, visit cobragolf.ca to learn more. Of course, nothing changes, eh? We still want you following across all of our social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And, of course, the YouTube channel is going to start ramping up real soon here with some new stuff. So make sure that you're subscribing to the YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell to make sure that you never miss anything that we post up there.
Yes. Working on some of that stuff yesterday. So
beautiful. Okay, so a few things to clean up since we've kind of been off for a little bit, and
holiday season,
it's expected. It's the holiday season. We need a break too. We figured everybody was on vacation. No one was going to be listening to us anyway, so why not take vacation ourselves?
Sure.
But there you go. We do have some things to get caught up on because a few things have happened, albeit not anywhere near what would be going on in May, June, or July. But there's still a fair bit of stuff to talk about. We'll get that done on the front nine, and on the back nine, we are going to talk about the TGL, Tomorrow Golf League, on the heels of its launch on Tuesday night. Some interesting conversations, I think, can come out of what we discussed in the back nine. I think there's a lot of things that we can talk about and follow up on based on what's been on social media and what we both saw ourselves in the broadcast. So that's going to be fun. But let's get to the front nine, presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Well, golf season is not that far off, so it is time to start thinking about the season ahead, and golf at Metcalf is the perfect place to start. You can become a member, join one of the many leagues, participate in an event, or save some money on golf with their popular game passes. Visit metcalfgolf.com to learn more about all of that great stuff. All right, Scotty Mac.
Yes, year 4, dude. Year 4. I was just looking. Podcast debuted in 2022. This is year 4 for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I believe. I know.
Year 4.
Yeah.
110 episodes.
Yeah. It's all good. Well, first off, Happy New Year.
Yes, you as well, my friend.
We haven't talked a lot.
No, we haven't. No,
it has been a busy time.
Our lives have gotten in the way of the conversations between friends. That's for sure.
Yeah, between kids going here and there and a few extra different family and medical things and all sorts.
I hear you.
Unasked for things, but overall it was a good holiday season. It was kind of nice to get a little bit of a break, but I found myself itching a few days where I was just like, I felt like I was almost a little bit bored, and I kind of want to get back to a few things. But I kept myself off social media for the most part, but not 100%.
Nah, I try as hard as I can not to get too wrapped up in the social media side of things, but inevitably the phone is always very, very close at hand, and it's almost impossible to
it is
almost impossible to miss to ignore it. But hey, it is what it is. We're here now. We're doing our thing. Wrenches being thrown into plans is part of life, right? So we just we roll with it, we deal with it, we move on. That's how it goes.
You got it. So I was going to ask you, did you? I mean, we talked a little bit about some indoor golf and stuff like that. Did you manage to get to anywheres or play anything over the holidays? You haven't yet, eh? So I will tell you. You might want to get to Falcon Ridge or one of the other places that's got TrackMan. Cabot, both golf courses are now available. on
Oh,
TrackMan. So cliffs and links are available as of yesterday.
that is exciting.
So I had a look.
Of course you did.
I only played 2 holes. I played the 16th at the cliffs, and I played the 14th on links.
The 16th is the par 3.
Correct, over the cliffside or whatever, and then 14 at links is obviously the short one with the infinity green that goes out to the ocean.
Yeah,
And
I love that. I mean,
dude.
hey, there's nothing not to like about anything Cabot.
Yeah.
But I still Highlands is still, aside from the 16th on cliffs all day long.
Yeah.
But outside of that, and 17 to an extent too, although 17's a little bit of a blind tee shot, so you really can't see.
No, but I'm looking forward to hitting that on the track and trying it out. So,
but Highlands,
links,
links, yes, links, all day long.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to playing them, but just adds another element. I know it's going to be a super popular ad for them, and obviously for places that have that, it's going to be popular for sure.
Well, I'll either get hoping that I might. As hockey season starts to wind down, maybe sooner than expected.
Get a chance to
might get some indoor golf. I can either, obviously I've got Falcon Ridge just up the road from me, but I also are
Canadian
good friends at Celtic Golf Center.
Golf Center, sure, yeah.
Not too far away either, but we'll get some indoor golf, and I'll definitely that'll make happen. If not, I'll just drive the 2 hours to Kingston and see if indoor Shea McLeod is open. For a quick 18.
It's all good. Now, have you watched any of the golf?
Yes,
I mean, obviously, some
actually have watched a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2 events in on the PGA Tour season. LPGA Tour season's yet to happen. Brooke Henderson was at the Senators game last night, and kind of their off season or whatever. But the LPGA will be getting going here pretty soon. But PGA Tour has already started. So give us some thoughts early on. I mean, what have you seen? What have you been watching?
I mean, I watched a bit of the Century. Obviously, the Century is a tournament that I don't get too overly excited or wound up over, because first of all, it's kind of like who goes lower, kind of like it's just if there isn't a hurricane force wind coming across the golf course, then the golf course is completely unprotected. And what happened, and you get someone like
it's a resort course.
So you get someone like Hideki who shoots 35 under. That's just like, oh my God. But there was still some. Hideki is one of those guys. He frustrates me.
How so?
Because he'll hit an absolute missile,
but then he's got,
and then he's like one hand flying off the club. He threw his club into the crowd yesterday.
Oh, I didn't see that.
At the Sony, he did the same thing. He one-handed it, but he let go of the club, and it went flying into the crowd.
Oh, no, I missed that.
I'm like, oh my God, the dude, come up with a new. I love the guy. I think he's an amazing golfer. I obviously love the equipment he plays. But dude, hang on to your golf club.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, I obviously don't condone it flying out of your hand, but it's interesting when players tend to, and there's a few people looked at this over the years or whatever, when players tend to go with one hand, a lot of times it's when they strike it off the toe. And it just get this weird feeling or whatever. And I'll forget who did it, but somebody did a study at one point and looked at kind of those particular swings that happen in type of golfers or whatever. But yeah, you're right. It tends to be his go-to, but it's rare when it all of a sudden comes flying out of his hand, which obviously you don't want when
no, not at all. And look, these guys are the best of the best, right? So when they mishit a shot,
it's by millimeters.
So. Yeah, they feel that mishit more so than I would feel that mishit. So that small, like you said, they hit it off the toe, something just doesn't feel right, so they let go. But of course, the gear effect, maybe the ball comes back into play and it still goes 300 yards. Of course, you're playing the Sony.
That was the only shot,
Open, right?
The only shot I saw of Hideki, I think, was on maybe it was 18. One of the dogleg left holes, and it was a tee shot, and he let go, but I mean it ended up in the fairway anyways or whatever. But you know what, you're right. I mean, seeing these guys, it's a limited field event. But it's sort of
That's a signature event too, isn't it?
No, it's a higher purse, but I don't. It's not a signature event.
Okay.
They've allowed more players in the field now based on past wins and a bunch of stuff. So it's not
Okay.
just winners only like it used to be. But it's certainly a vacation type event. It's an easy paycheck for these guys. I'm not saying it's not a tough walk, and but you're right. The golf course is what it is.
So you're saying it's like every live event.
I didn't say that, but it's a good way to kick off the season. But frustrating if you're like Colin Morikawa, like you said, holy hell.
31 under par or 34 or what did
32,
32 under par and you lose by three.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the nature of it. Was it Brad Fritz used to say you go and playing on the Corn Ferry or when, and most Corn Ferry events, if you're not shooting 66 every round, you're not making any money.
No.
Like just that's just the nature of they play courses that are set up that are not at the same level as PGA Tour courses. The courses are generally shorter and easier, and they're PGA Tour level players playing on the Corn Ferry Tour because any of these guys could jump up anytime.
Sure.
And they're playing weaker golf courses, so they're just going low every single week, every single round,
which doesn't fit into the hands of some players. And Brad, you're right, was that example. He loved a tough golf course.
Yeah, because it brought his game, the strength of his game, which was lower ball flight, length, ball striking. It brought his strength into play, which made him more competitive. Whereas his strength of his game was not shooting 64s and 65s every single round of golf. So it changes the landscape of things. So I don't think I could handle 365 days, 52 weeks a year of the century. No. I don't think I could. I don't think I could handle that at all. But once a year.
Yeah, it's fine.
For a showcase event like that, sure, go low, have fun. Let's see.
We'll call it the soft opener for the year because obviously the Sony Open in Hawaii this week is the first full field event. You get to see the rookies. It also matches up as well with the industry side of things. At the Century, we did see some some product debuts, some players because once product gets out there, the manufacturers know they've got to kind of have their official releases, even though it's been on the USGA conforming list or whatever. But usually these couple of weeks is when everything comes out, which I know I've been chasing my tail here for the last 2 weeks because it's like it's meetings. Like yesterday morning at an 8:00 discussion with the guys from one ball manufacturer because it was that was the only time we could fit it in. There's just all sorts of product stuff like happening all the time, massive. If you go to flagstick.com, it's going to be nonstop product watch right now, whether it's Mizuno,
nobody hates
Callaway's, Rixon, you name it. There's so much stuff that's coming out there, and that's just going to continue for the next couple of weeks. But that's part of the excitement as well of that Century, the Sony Open, seeing the players come out. There's not a lot of changes this year. We've seen a Max Homa going over to Cobra for an example. There's not a lot of equipment changes within the players as far as their brand affiliations, but we're seeing new products in play, which is part of the reason why people are kind of, maybe eyeballing the Sony and stuff a little bit more, on top of seeing the players that have graduated from the Corn Ferry Tour go come up as well.
Exactly. So, I always like to start to the year because of this kind of the way that the beginning goes. You get a lot of the rookies coming up. You see a lot. So you see what you're in for the rest of the year. And if these guys can, jump up and get an early rookie win or a bunch of top tens and then play their way into some of those other events as the season progresses. So, that's kind of the exciting part of the year because then you get into the meat and potatoes and then you start seeing the same guys all the time.
Right.
So right now you're kind of seeing a little bit of everything, from
the
everybody.
Veterans, the fresh new players. We're going to see Corn Ferry Tour starts up this weekend on Sunday. We'll see players like, Matt Anderson, Stuart McDonald are back up there on the Corn Ferry Tour. We've got 7 Canadians playing in the Sony this week. 6 Canadians playing in the Corn Ferry Tour, and then so it just sort of gets things going and gets that rhythm going.
And of course Connors had a tie for 5th at the Century, which is great. I mean, he again, there's a guy, he had some hiccups in his round, and as soon as you had in his tournament, as soon as you had some hiccups, you're done. I mean, it's just you can't You can't have that many hiccups and drop shots, and while everybody else is you go 1 over for a stretch of 3 holes, and everybody else is going 4 under.
Yeah, we were having a discussion about Connors the other day. Noah Steele was home for home here in Kingston, lives in Texas, but PGA Tour America's player. We've talked about it for a bit on the show. But we were playing on TrackMan, and you play on TrackMan a lot of times. You have an 8-foot circle or whatever for your gimmies and whatever. And he's like, man, it would be so frustrating to play with Corey. And he's played with Corey lots. He's friends with Corey. He's like, it'd be so frustrating to play with him on TrackMan. He'd never putt. He just hits it so good or whatever. So
that's funny.
I was like, that would be pretty funny. But so it's good. Pro stuff's getting started. Like I said, LPGA will be getting started soon. And we've already got some amateur stuff going.
Well, hit it. I what do we got?
Yeah, so basically over the holidays, the very first wins of the year. I mean, kind of New Year's Day, a bunch of the Canadian next-gen players were down south, or a lot of them are in Florida right now playing tournaments. And Shauna Liu won the Junior Orange Bowl down in Orlando, which has been a big event. I think Brooke Henderson won that back in the day. And then so she was great in that. She shot 6 under in the final round, ended up shooting 8 under total, and to win that down in at the Biltmore in Miami, Coral Gables, Florida. And then Clara Ding, who's also on the next gen team, she ended up winning by 5 strokes at the Orlando International Amateur. Shot 212 there, and a few other Canadians did well at that. Nobel Park, who's also another teammate, she finished 3rd. Aphrodite Deng took 6 at that. So again, seeing those players in action. Another one as well in Florida, the College Tour X Florida Winter Amateur, which takes place near Orlando. A lot of mix of college players and high school players. And we actually saw Carly Mayer from Lansdowne, but is in Florida for the winter, and she attends school online, and she finished 2nd with a 68 in the closing round. Sadie Wu of Toronto tied for 3rd. And over on the boys' side, Thomas Latter, who's at the University of Southern Mississippi, who's from the Mississauga area, he took 3rd on that side. And the other one to mention right now is the South American Amateur Championship is on right now. Just finished their first round yesterday down in Chile. And Braxton Kuntz, Isaiah Ebbett from Ottawa, I'm trying to think Matthew Javier, and off the top of my head, Justin Matthews are the 4 Canadians that are down there playing that. That wasn't in my notes here, but yeah, so those events are sort of happening right now, and pretty good stuff, and some good showings early by the Canadian amateurs.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. It's very exciting.
And Jones Cup is also this week. Ashton McCullough from Kingston is down there playing that, as is Hunter Thompson. I saw Ashton a little bit over the holiday season and watched a little session of his training. Kid is moving it, man. Buck 22 club head speed.
He's the one. He's the next one to watch for, I guess. Is I mean,
won the Canadian Amateur already in 2023, but obviously doing very well at Michigan State, and will be turning pro at some point soon here.
It's funny. There's so many of them. I mean, you talked about Noah Steele there earlier. Such a talented golfer, such a dedicated golfer, and just to people need to understand just how hard it is to crack through. Is how good a golfer Noah is, and he's still working his way.
Up on PGA Tour Americas this year still.
To the try to get to the Corn Ferry, try to get to the PGA Tour. He's still grinding it, trying to get there, and he's an exceptional golfer. He's not one of these ones that thinks they can turn pro and really doesn't have it. He does have it. He's every bit good enough to be there. He just has to get there. And then you talk about Ashton McCullough. There's another player again from the Kingston area, and that's won a Canadian Amateur, extremely talented player. And it's not a recipe for I'm on the PGA Tour, I'm making lots of money, I look at my sponsorship. It's just well, I mean, so many good golfers.
I got to talk to him a little bit about, he got to play in the US Open last year at Pinehurst. So we talked a little bit about that. It was interesting because we had back-to-back groups playing at Celtic down in Kingston, and Hayden Underhill, who's at Wisconsin Parkside. Ashton McCullough was there. Noah. So between them, there's 5 NCAA tournament wins in those players. So it's crazy when you just watch that talent level. And what was interesting is seeing other golfers, come and watch, and they'd see stuff and they see the response and they're like, whoa. And then they see, as you mentioned, how good those players are. Yeah. And now we have to start to think of how good the players are even higher than that.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between, a lot of people don't realize it, but the guy who's a scratch golfer, it's all
that's
relative.
A different level.
It's all relative. These are +7, +8, as far as their golfers. So you got to get there. It takes time. So
exactly. Now, just to kind of wrap up, I guess our front nine here.
Sure.
The OVJ, Ottawa Valley Golf Association, named its 2025 junior development team. Yes. The team is comprised of athletes from across a number of different age divisions.
Yep.
That compete local, provincial, national competitions all year long. So congratulations to all of the members of the team.
We do have a full list up at Flagstick.com.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've got the whole list on Flagstick.com of the player, what their home club is. So you can check that out. We won't run through the shopping list of who made it, but
some new faces
there's a lot of names on that list that people will recognize, but there's a lot of names on that list that you might not recognize, but you're going to recognize at some point or another over the course of the next
I'm getting ready to practice writing their names. How's that? I know most of them already, but there is a couple that are new faces there, and that program continues to be quite successful. They compete quite well in the inter-Quebec stuff, and a lot of these players have gone on to provincial success as well, and some players have gone on to the national team. So good luck to all of them.
So now we've there's a post up on flagstick.com that you put up there recently. About goal setting for 2025. Now, we're not going to get into the details of the article that you wrote because it's pretty extensive. There's a lot of good stuff there. But I thought, we have a little bit of time here on the front nine before we have to take a break. So let's just kind of summarize a little bit of,
what's in it,
and why is it important that at this stage of the game right now, January 2025, golf season is 3 months away. Why it's important that people start to look at this now.
One of the biggest things is just to start out with reflection. I mean, a lot of people, they have goals and things, but what are they based on? So part of the worksheet is going and looking in detail, kind of what your last year was like, and really be deliberate about it, and not just, use as much anecdotal information as possible, use as many stats, whatever you have, but, reflect on all parts of your game, because you have to recognize where you were to recognize where you can go, and then be realistic about how you're going to get better. Now, a lot of people want to get better every year. They say, hey, I want to get better at golf, but they don't really have a game plan. So the whole idea of that goal setting worksheet, and I published one there last year on flagstick.com, but the whole goal is to have another one there this year. Same thing, people can work through, give you an idea that, hey, maybe I need to get to work right now. But the easiest way to get to work is kind of set out your goals, set out your objectives, and then find a pathway to go there, be it, on your own with a coach, whatever, but give yourself a framework. And, we're happy to do that here at flagstick.com and provide that, goal setting worksheet. You can download it there. It's a PDF. You can download it right off the website and, print it out, write it up, whatever you want, or you can, turn it into an active PDF and kind of fill it in. But it's something good to give you a little bit of a timeline and help you set some goals for 2025 so you can accomplish some stuff.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, wouldn't it?
My goal is
play some golf.
Just to play.
There you go.
Whatever happens. So
may not need a goal setting worksheet.
I may not need to download the PDF, though. I probably take a look at it anyway.
Sure. Okay.
All right. One last thing before we take a break. A lot of people have been asking about this, and I'm happy to say that the registration for the 2025 Flagstick Open Amateur Championship being played at Ep.110 Golf Club in Kemptville will open Monday.
Awesome.
Good stuff. That's major details, cost, everything. Go to flagstick.com. under events. You'll see everything you need to see. And as soon as the registration is open on Monday, the link, you can get to it directly from flagstick.com. Or you can get to it at flagstickopen.com, but there's no point in going to flagstickopen.com right now because you can't register right now.
There you go.
But Monday you will be able to, and I have to encourage you that when it opens, register. You can always cancel later if you need to because you're not sure of your schedules and stuff. Our waiting list is deep, so I'm never really too concerned if you have to cancel because something conflicts or something. But don't wait to register because you're afraid that you might not be able to play because you won't get in. If you wait too long and you get bottom of the waiting list, you're at the bottom of 60, 70 people that are on that waiting list. So the chances of you getting in are slim to none. So there you go. Excited to let people know that that's happening.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's take a break, Scott. And when we come back, we are going to talk TGL, Tomorrow's Golf League, and we'll see where that conversation takes us. You're listening to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Cobra Golf's new King Tech X, and King Tech X1 length irons designed for a wide variety of handicaps. The King Tech and Tech X irons deliver the ultimate combination of performance, precision, power, and forgiveness in every swing. Find a local fitter today for a better ball striking experience. Visit cobragolf.ca to learn more. All right. Well, welcome back to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. We're excited to get into this topic on our back nine. Our back nine is presented, of course, by our good buddies at Celtic Golf Center. Now with two awesome locations, Kempville and a brand new Kingston location, which has been open for a while now, both featuring multiple state-of-the-art TrackMan sims. Your golf season never has to end. Enjoy a round of golf with friends. Join one of the many leagues. Get in for some new equipment, or get fit for some new equipment, or take a lesson. Celtic Golf Centers have got you covered because it really is about the golf. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more, to book tee times, or to sign up for a league. And just a reminder that with respect to the Celtic Golf Center, we will be getting our feature in Flagstick Academy feature instruction will be produced and posted very soon. So get ready for that because it's coming to where? Our YouTube channel and to flagstick.com, of course.
You got it.
All right. On to the back nine we go. And as promised, we're going to talk about, because this is probably the most timely topic that we could talk about right now, is
definitely the event that people have been talking about for sure.
TGL.
Yeah.
Are you watching? Golf. Are you not watching? I know we watched. TGL stands for Tomorrow's Golf League. No, I didn't have to just look that up. It's not the Tiger Golf League, as some people probably thought that it was.
Yeah, Tiger and Rory are obviously the big names behind it, but they've got lots of investors.
Yeah,
they've got this $50 million stadium.
The SoFi Center. It's pretty incredible.
It's wild.
But let's just set this up for people that maybe haven't watched it or watched it briefly. It's 6 TGL teams. So this is a team. This is a team thing. 6 TGL teams representing 6 different cities are going head to head in a season-long competition at this new state-of-the-art SoFi Center. First of its kind venue built specifically for TGL. And it's built on the campus of Palm Beach State College, sorry. Yeah, the matches are on ESPN, ESPN Plus, Sportsnet Plus in Canada. And every shot's live and all the players are mic'd up. And this is like opening up access like you've
it's indoors. Yeah, that's what people have to realize. And it's indoors. This is simulated golf, but it has some elements, and we'll get into
simulated golf on steroids, I think.
That would be definitely, because they've got and again, we'll get into the components of it, but let's just say the basics aspects of it. You've got a stadium, you've got a crowd there, you've got these teams. You've got a format, which we'll get to, or hitting their full shots into a simulator from various conditions. But then they also have a massive putting green that's in there that basically their shots correspond with what they're going to have to hit on that putting green. So it's stadium golf, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and some interesting things that I found out during watching the broadcast. Now, I certainly hope now that they've had the initial broadcast and they had the preview show that we don't have to listen to all that stuff every single week because it was getting a little bit it was getting a little bit over the top with the explanations. But I understand it's the first one. You've got to get that out there because most people won't go look it up for themselves. So you got to remind them, and I'm sure that they'll be reminded at the beginning of every show how it works and all that. Yeah. But the one thing that I found like crazy amazing that I didn't know going into it, the details of how this would work. First of all, the courses that they're playing are created specifically for TGL.
Correct.
So these are not, even though they use full swing simulators. This is not like they're playing TPC Sawgrass. No. They're playing courses that are made specifically for TGL for the simulators that they're using
by an architect. Augustin Pisa did the architecture.
So he
did the design. So
but what I found fascinating is because of that, the green complexes that each of the courses that they play have line up with the green complex that they have in the facility that rotates. Correct. Now it doesn't just rotate.
It has actuators.
It's actuators underneath the surface that when they play that course, like as soon as they go, okay, we're playing that course now, they play that course, the green changes its contours for the hole that they're playing on that particular course, which means if they've got 10 different golf courses and there's 15 different holes, let's say they created 18 holes, even though they only play 15, there's 18 different holes per golf course. That means that there's 18 times 10 golf course green complexes that computer generated actuators can move the surface around. So this was all designed specifically for this. So that when they go to that hole, it's like they walk on, they could be standing in a certain spot on the green and the hole they just played in basically the same area of the green.
Oh, but the green changes.
And the green just changed. Now that whole idea of, I just had this putt. No, you didn't just have that putt because now that putt breaks right instead of left and it's uphill instead of downhill. So I found that part really kind of cool once I found that out.
They designed 30 holes for use within this. These are 15-hole matches within this, but there's 30 holes that were created, one-of-a-kind designs. And because, as you said, they are done and they're not real ones, which a lot of people are like, oh, I wish they were on real ones. Look, we can see
I don't wish that
during the year. These are the fantasy ones. I don't know if you saw the one with the triangle, the then it goes back out, and then the green is sort of almost an islandish. So it's a par 5. They're bringing up the risk and reward level. What I would be interested to know, I don't know if you noticed the one hole, it was a massive dog leg, went around and then had a little island that they could go to and then go across that they played. I wonder if, this particular week, it was very easy for the player that had to hit the shot in the format that they were playing at that time, because they have an alternate shot format where it's 3 players playing
triples.
If they see that and that maybe is, the first week it was a little wide, would they narrow it up? Would they change the design? Because again, these are all digital designs. I don't know if they would, because obviously it's a continuation.
Maybe once every team has played the golf course, once they've all, because I would imagine the 2 teams that are playing this week will play the same.
Right, exactly. So I wonder if they would make an adjustment, and maybe they'll do that between seasons. They'll do more holes or whatever. Maybe. But so if you look in the stadium and how it is, I mean, the fact that they're hitting off of real turf, right? Yeah. People have to realize that the tee box is real turf. They have sand, they have rough, so that adds some more reality to it as it is. But what was the biggest thing that stood out for you besides the actuators and the greens? What was the first thing? I mean, we have a lot of things that we can talk about in different angles, but what jumped out at you more than anything, good, bad, or otherwise?
Okay, so good pace of play.
Yeah, it was quick.
Like they have a shot clock. Yeah. They go over to the screen, they set their same as you and I would do on, I think, so the shot clock that impressed me because it's just like, okay, move it guys.
Yeah, you're how they pick their targets.
They pick their target on the side screen, the same as we would do for indoor golf, for sim golf here.
Although I did notice there was no wind. They didn't have any wind. They didn't play wind. I don't think because there was nothing shown up on the data for the screen. So I think they sort of left that aspect out of it, which if anybody's played in a simulator, you can set up wind conditions and so forth. But yeah, we'll see as far as if that changes for maybe the playoffs or something.
So. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was kind of cool. Using real grass is really neat. The fact that they have to drop it in the rough, not place it in the rough, I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, got some funky lies.
Yeah, well, I say because of course Oberg had his first shot was out of a dropped rough lie, ended up hitting it in the hazard. So
yeah,
because they're not really 100% sure how it's going to come out of there when they drop it. Like
I'm still scared for some of the camera people just to the side. I was joking.
Someone's gonna hosel rocket one.
I was joking on X at some point. Someone's gonna top one, shank one. Or best players in the world still can have that happen. And how's that going to happen in a stadium setting when all of a sudden something goes? Because you got to remember where the spectators are. They're back. The screen is forward, but you can see that there was staff, camera people that were just slightly forward. Like, I don't know about you, but if I'm in a simulator, I make sure I'm never in front of anyone.
Yeah,
never in front of anyone, because you just never know what's going to happen. Which what you do outside as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, I like the camaraderie between the players. I felt that it was a little bit hesitant early on. It got a little bit better as it went along, but I think as the season of the TGL progresses, I think we're going to see more in different groups. I mean, we haven't seen Kevin Kisner yet. Right. Or Tiger, and I definitely see Kiz being sort of one of those really get into the jabbing, and I see Tiger doing that.
Yeah,
not so much when you look at the ones that are out there. Like Ricky Fowler's a pretty quiet guy.
Sure, Wyndham Clark's not saying much or whatever.
Yeah, but Shane Lowry maybe a little bit, but not a lot.
I guess that's the only downside with the pace. And again, I was in a couple of group chats while this was going on or whatever. And with the pace going so quickly, there was, not a lot of time to capture some of that conversation. When they caught some of it, it was really good. I mean, we've got the players mic'd up. We want to take advantage of it, right? Mm-hmm. And you're right. When will they get away from being reserved as much and having a good time? Because this is not the PGA Tour. This is not a PGA Tour event.
No.
So here's a chance for them to show their personality, but they're so used to being a little bit more reserved, because you got to remember a number of times when things have been caught, when players have played jokes, maybe Tiger, Justin Thomas, certain things that happened over the years or whatever, they end up having to back up and apologize and do all sorts of different things. But this is a chance where they can kind of be themselves a little bit. Whether they'll be themselves or not, we'll see. But I'd like to see maybe them capture a little bit more of that. I know they might be scared because it is live. But yeah, it would be time. That would be the only downside of the speed of it, which I loved overall, would just be the fact that maybe within that they need to maybe capture a little bit more of that.
Yeah. So,
but you're right. Oh, sorry. I'll say this. When you said about the introduction stuff, the commentators were obviously trying to add a lot of stuff. Maybe as we progress, they'll be doing less and they'll let the players do more.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, because I need to hear less of the commentators, more like your typical golf, golf event where the commentators are involved in, sort of what they're seeing, but there's not so much of the in-between stuff. And I eventually I want to hear less about how they use the hammer and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think there's so many cool things. I think the hammer thing is a great idea. I mean, it's like being out playing a money match against somebody and pressing.
Yeah, and I'm sure the players, that was a contribution from the players.
Yeah.
They were probably asked, hey, what would you like to see? And they were probably like, hey, we play hammer all the time. That would be a nice ad.
So I'm not a big fan of the 15 holes.
Okay.
I think I would prefer if it was 18. And the reason I say that is because I want to see, because of the shot clock, because of the pace of everything, I felt like it, when you're used to watching a golf tournament that is, 4 hours of time, and you're flip-flopping from hole to hole, I like the 2-hour window. I think that's great. I think to get rid of some of the tweeny stuff and show more golf, like a golf telecast would show a lot of golf. Having the players at the end when they go head to head, playing 3 holes each instead of 2. because right now they do 2 holes each. So they're playing their triples, which I think is awesome.
Sure.
And then they play their head-to-heads, and each player plays 2 holes. I think if each player played 3 holes, then you would go to 18 holes, and then it would be I'm not going to say traditional because this is not traditional golf.
No,
so we can't put the thing on. I just want to see them play more holes.
Yeah,
so it's not about. So I think if you pushed it to 3 holes each, you'd get your 18 by default anyway.
Yeah, I think it would be nice, but I think again that comes back to a time restriction, and I also think
it's made for TV, right? And if you have a playoff or something like that, they've got to allow for that. So that's probably a big reason why they're doing it the way they're doing it. I'm just saying,
it would be nice, for sure. I mean, I'd sit there, and if it was 4 hours at the same pace, I'd be fine with that too. But it is the window that it is, and I think that's purposeful to not be 18 holes. To, again, in your brain, whether you think about it or not be traditional.
Yeah, no, right? And I think that's probably a big reason why they're doing it. Plus, it's again made for TV. They've got a window. It's primetime television on a Tuesday night, so it's not like they're not like they're running it at 8:00 on a Saturday morning. No, you know what I mean? Like,
and I do like the extra holes having some value. I mean, it seemed confusing at first when obviously, a match is 9-2 and you're like, what the hell are they going to do for the rest of the time? But then obviously, the holes that are afterwards, are going to be used as tiebreakers, later on in the season. So that I think that was a smart solution to make at least those to be
just some relevance to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than, you think of a traditional broadcast where all of a sudden, they're done a half an hour early, which never happens anymore, but they get done early and then they're just trying to fill time. So at least this, and the other thing I saw about the players, and we were talking about the camaraderie and stuff a little bit, they looked like they were having fun.
Yes.
They look like they were just in the backyard chipping and pitching. They're trying shots that they wouldn't normally try, whether it's a Fitzpatrick hitting that little spinny one, Schauffele trying to hit the pitch shot over the middle part of the green. He didn't pull it off, but you could hear the players chirping and stuff like that. And I think that's what fans like, because that's what they like in their own golf games. They like when players are having fun out of the golf course, and it's not a funeral march. The idea is that they're having fun, and if they can see those players having fun more, that changes their perception of what those players, because as well as I how many times we may be aware of a player and that they do have a personality or whatever, but what people get to see the snippets on TV, they're like, oh, that guy's got no personality and whatever. And like, oh, well, they do, but they're just not showing it in that situation.
So one of the questions was about, that we sort of wanted to get into is the game show feel versus a sporting event. So my expectation going into this, when I knew what we were going to be watching and stuff, and I'm kind of thinking, okay, this is golf's answer to a baseball game, a hockey game, or a football game, where they're going to play golf on this field, and there's going to be this crowd of people surrounding the field that they're playing on, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be like, so that was my initial sort of vision of what to expect.
Sure.
Now, once you see it and you realize there's 1,200 people in the building, they're all sitting in sort of suite style seating up around the thing. It's not particularly loud. It's very hollow sounding in there because of the nature of the facility, and it's golf, and the ball hits the screen and you get the typical. It's more like a pop than a thud.
Yeah. And even when they showed they came back from a break and they were showing kind of the camera behind the stadium, and they had all these tables back there where people could stand, and tabletops. It was empty. Like it was pretty thin.
So I get, so when I see that, it's kind of like, okay, that is not what I expected. I expected I expected this to be kind of golf's idea of, okay, I'm going to go to the TGL game today, and you end up with like 10,000 people in this stadium, like basically sitting around watching at the Phoenix Open kind of thing. Like that was my expectation. Elevated seating above, looking down, sort of horseshoe shaped like a golf hole. That's what I expected. That's not what I saw. So I was a little disappointed that's not what I saw. That seemed very VIP. And not $25 tickets.
No,
It
there was
seemed
200.
very $500 tickets.
No, it was $200 tickets is
Yeah.
what they were. Now, will that change? I don't know. But the first night, a lot of VIPs, a lot of people invited down.
Mhm.
They brought in a bunch of media people. There's lots of people in the stands. Like I talked to a few people that were down there or whatever. That was the pace. It was the suits. It was the Maple Leafs game where you're a lot of corporate people, not the hardcore fans. So I expect that to be much the same for like the Tiger when Tiger first plays and Rory first plays and stuff like that. I'm hoping like you that it's not, there was obviously some plants in that crowd. You saw the one dude, he was cheering for both teams, and it was so faked. It was
very game showy where you've got the applause signs and things like that.
Exactly. For production, they're trying to guarantee that noise and whatever. And you're right. I hope they can attach to the fans a little bit, that maybe they can get more kids there, more whatever, so that they're and they're making some noise, but it'd be nice. And if they're going to encourage that and they want that, then you know what, go all out.
Well, the thing is, watching golf live is a close-up sport. It's a close-up spectator sport. It's not a distance thing. So if you really want, you've got to get ground level seating. You've got to get sort of that stadium type seating on the ground where people can be down close to the green, close to the where they're hitting into the screen, so you can see the screen well. They've got to get there just has to be more of a sporting event feel to it, not what I saw. What I saw was just very. I don't know. I didn't like that part of it very much. So growing pains. They got to fix these things. Again, you mentioned American Gladiators. That is exactly what I got from this. The announcers, the announcers seem very phony to me. I know there's some good guys, but
Scott Van Pelt was good, but
Scott Van Pelt was good, but Scott Van Pelt was just his studio. And he was doing his broadcast afterwards. Right. He wasn't really there. So again, it's just SVP.
Yeah, I didn't need to see an interview with DJ Khaled. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't need to see that either. I know he's an investor and everything, but
but so what? There's a million other investors or whatever, and it's just like
Serena Williams is an investor. So
it's just the same old lame thing. It's again, that gives it the corporate feel.
Yes,
right.
I need the grassroots, blue collar, white collar.
I want to hear from Joe Spectator.
Yeah, I want to know what people think of it.
Yeah.
What I don't want to hear about from the peanut gallery is I don't want to hear comparisons to this being the PGA Tour's answer to Live Golf. This is not in any way, shape, or form. Now, was the whole team concept of golf inspired by what people like from Live? If you pull one small component out of Live and said, well, the team side of things, people seem to gravitate to, so maybe we can make that part of what we're doing here.
Live didn't invent team golf.
No.
Ryder Cup came around in 1927, and we've had team golf outside of that.
So I see this and say, this is the PGA. This is not even like anybody that's comparing Live and TGL and thinking that one was created to combat the other. I mean, come on, man, give your head a shake. No. This is not the same thing. What I see with TGL is a way of creating something that every golfer can, in their off season specifically, can relate to.
Sure.
Every day when we watch PGA Tour golf through the golf season, we're watching golfers, the best golfers on the planet. We're watching them do things on the golf course that we only dream that we could do. Okay, so we're out playing golf, we're playing tournaments, and then we tune in and watch our PGA Tour star friends do their thing. Okay, when I see TGL, what I see is I can go play sim golf.
Yep,
and I can play, and I hit into a screen and I putt and I hit at a bunker shots and all that kind of stuff. I do that. Now I get to watch the best players on the planet do what I do when it's minus 40 out. And I go play indoor golf, and I watch them do the same thing, and I watch them struggle with the same things in indoor golf that I struggle with, and it becomes a relatable thing. Instead of creating something that nobody else can do, and wondering, well, it'd be kind of cool to try that. You don't. You do it all the time. Now they're doing it too, but they're doing it professionally. Now, are they making money? Sure, I'm sure they're making money, but
They are.
They're professional athletes.
But that
That's
was
kind
one
of
of
the
the
whole
good
point.
things, though. There was not a lot of discussion about the money, which is
Nope.
fantastic, which is great to hear. I mean, they're going to make some money, whatever. That's fine. They deserve it. Um, but you're right. It's a golf adjacent or a golf parallel thing, but it is golf, but it's just a different thing. It's an entertainment product. Where I see it's going to be interesting is, and there here was an interesting comparison. Someone said they were talking about it on a specific podcast. I forget which one it was, but they were talking about poker and how poker became popular, with all these TV matches and stuff like that, and lots of people started to get into poker. Now I'm not saying this is going to drive massive growth to the game or whatever, but I'll tell you what, if somebody wanders by this broadcast on TV, which obviously a number of people were, they had over 900,000 viewers on ESPN for the first one, and at one point over 1.1 million. We don't have any numbers from Sportsnet. Hopefully they can sustain that. But, if somebody wanders by who casually flips on their TV, and they're on Sportsnet or whatever, and, obviously they have contracts. So immediately right after the Sportsnet, broadcast of this, they were talking, it was at the top of the hour as far as their show, as far as the news show afterwards, they talked about TGL right afterwards, because it's in their best interest to promote it because it's on their network or whatever. But if some people go, oh, that's pretty cool, like some aspect of it, it may not be the golf they're going to play, but it'd be very interesting to see how many people either make a call to a simulator place or at least put a golf club in their hand, and what that translates to. Is it a cure-all for everything? No, but it gives you another interesting aspect of entertainment that, again, is golf adjacent, golf in that atmosphere, just like indoor golf, top golf, whatever. It's just another way to have people involved in the sport.
Now, the big question that I would have about this whole thing is, where does it go from here? So you've built this SoFi Center, and you've built it in the States in one spot. And right now your whole league takes place there. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about other franchises? I mean, what about other teams? Like, did these people invest in TGL, or did they invest in the team? And, so do they, do they build another one of these facilities, in other areas of the U.S.? Does there end up being like two or three or four of them nationwide, and having certain teams play and practice out of those facilities? Do the facilities get used for something else? I've obviously got this massive facility that is wired up and made it's like a studio. So you talk about American Gladiators. It's like a studio. It's already built and ready to go every week. So all the cameras are in place. So that facility is not going to be rented out for parties.
No.
So that's all it's used for. Now, maybe the university gets access to it for practice or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
Probably convertible into something else or whatever.
But it's basically a private facility.
Yeah.
So where does it go from here?
Yeah.
The revenue model is the revenue model, I'm sure, to earn money for the league, because it's not a charity. It's not a non-for-profit thing. It's a business. So there's investors want to make money. So it's TV revenue, obviously, and sponsorships.
So they've got rights sold in 110 countries, which again helps with the sponsorships. Now, I will say what I liked for some of the commercials is they just played audio commercials. And if you caught that in Canada, they didn't switch out to them, which was really an interesting way to do it. So it keep you there. They have attached, the 6 teams to different cities. Try to create some attention that way. I would say it would have to get very big for them to build another facility.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Elsewhere, because again, we talk about American Gladiators. Their stadium was in Orlando. I was in that one. I watched a taping of it back in the day. So they had a set facility where it was at. Obviously, it was done for a lot less than this facility was. But you're right. I don't know if they're going to end up with $50 million spent in facilities kind of all over the place, but it depends how big this gets. It really is.
And where does these franchises come from? I mean, there's a large Canadian audience, obviously. Do they form a team that has a player
Toronto
from Canada, and it's a Team Toronto, and they go down and they play their once a week match, or once every 2 weeks? I guess depends on who's playing, or every 3 weeks even. I mean, it's not like they're playing weekly. So, do you end up with a team from Toronto and a team from Vancouver, or a team from Toronto and a team from whatever? And
Team Toronto players all live in Florida anyways. So I mean, all these athletes. That's part of the reason why they pick that side. Is most of these golfers are based in Florida.
Yeah. So does that end up being the basis for something? There's a lot of other states. So they've got teams they got a team in New York. They got 2 teams out in the West. They got 2 teams down in the Florida area. So maybe that's I don't know what their long-term plan is, but
I think the feasibility of that makes it difficult, because I think if you put the stadiums in those particular places, none of those people all live there at a regular time. So I think we're going to see it that one spot. But yes, I think the first expansion would be just more teams. Like you said, could be a Toronto, it could be Chicago, it could be other cities in the US that they attach it to. The league gets bigger that way. I think they would have to maximize the use of that stadium facility first before they would consider going out of there. And as you say, it's just like trying to have a permanent site for something like the Canadian Open. The reason Glen Abbey was the permanent site for such a long time and hosted so many events is that it was pre-wired. It was, you knew where the leaderboards were going to go. You knew, it's very easy. Those things are really expensive to do. So just like this, it would be very expensive to all of a sudden have the broadcast all over the place, bring the people there, not just the facility itself, is that you have to bring the TV people, the talent, everybody. You'd have to bring them all over the place as well, or have all their multiple teams. So I can see them just maximizing there, but I could see like them gradually adding teams as they go, as players have more interest and as investors have more interest.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as we mentioned, there's a lot of high profile investors into a lot of these teams in the league as well. And at some point they're going to say, hey, I'd like a team. And then they're going to get together with their millionaire buddies and they'll go, hey, we're going to make a team. What players can we get here? Can we get a piece of the TV revenue? How's that all work?
Yeah.
And, everybody would be happy on there. But overall, my take is that I'm interested. I'm going to keep watching. I'm glad they didn't do the Tiger or Rory thing right away. A lot of people are like criticizing, why wouldn't they do Tiger first night? No, first night, they're already going to get an audience, already going to get people that are interested. They need to kind of carry that momentum through. And that's what that's going to be the determining factor of the success and failure, because again, you could attach lots of different metrics to this. I would say it's already a success in the fact that they brought so much money in, they've signed so many deals. It's going to get a high level of promotion. If they can sustain an audience, then they've got the perfect mix there.
All right, well, there you go. So that is TGL in a nutshell. TGL in a nutshell from us.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's an evolving thing. There's going to be ebbs and flows. It's where it goes from here. They're going to have to make adjustments every single show, every single week. So we'll just see what happens. I'm curious to tune in this coming Tuesday night to see how this one looks. On the heels of the one that they just did, and we'll see where it goes.
And I'm sure they'll get feedback as well. I mean, one of the things we didn't mention is the use of data. They mentioned some of the stuff, but they could use more of that. And there were some glitches. They listed the apex for the ball flight in feet when it was actually yards. There's just all these things are going to adjust, and that'll be the interesting part as well, is see how it evolves, see what little changes they make in the broadcast. Maybe they, listen to the players more. Maybe they tell the players, chat it up a little bit more. As long as it's not contrived and it feels natural, it'll be good. But yeah, I'll be tuning in.
Time will tell, but a good start for them nonetheless.
I think so.
All right, and time will tell if we continue to do this podcast. No, time won't tell. We will continue to do this podcast.
There you go.
All right, that's it for us for this week. That's it for the first episode of 2025. Glad we could get this one in. Thanks to all our sponsors: Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, presenting sponsor, Cobra Golf, and the new King Tech X 1-length irons, designed with a wide variety of handicaps. The King Tech and King Tech X irons deliver the ultimate combination of performance, precision, power, and forgiveness in every swing. Find a local fitter today for a better ball striking experience. Visit cobragolf.ca to learn more. Hopefully you've enjoyed this show. I know we have. You're enjoying hearing and watching everything that we do. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure that you never miss anything that we do with our YouTube channel. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day, and subscribe to Flagstick Digest newsletter. Get everything delivered to your inbox 3 times a week. But as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Always remember, go for the stick.